Good morning, everyone. Happy December 19th. We're going to begin our meeting with the pledge. And Randy, would you lead us in the pledge?
It'd be my honor. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, let's move on to roll call.
Commissioner District 1, Randy Netherland.
I'm here.
Commissioner District 2, Kevin Schutte.
Here.
Commissioner District 3, Sharon Traps.
I'm here in my pajamas. Let's move on to item number 4, correspondence and organizational business. Do we have any correspondence?
The City of Shelton sent in a notice of public hearing to consider an amendment to an existing conditional use permit for Community Lifeline Shelter located at 218 North 3rd Street to increase bed capacity from 35 beds to 54 beds. Mason County Fire Protection District Number 5 sent in a levy certification. The State of California Department of Food and Agriculture, Plant Health and Pest Prevention Services sent in a notice of rejection. Treasurer sent in a notice regarding RCW 3648-010, depositories designated by the Treasurer. Deborah Langley Boyer requested payment for the loss of honeybees due to County Road spraying herbicides. Property owners within the Sunnywoods development sent in a preliminary petition for a County Road Improvement District for Shetland Road. And the Washington State Liquor and Cannabis Board sent in application approval for Gold Baby LLC, cannabis license renewal applications, and liquor license renewal applications.
All right, thank you so much. Moving on to item 4.2. We have somebody special in our audience who we are going to miss deeply. So, Michael, if you could come up here.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning. So we do have, I'm gonna stand up. That way I can be taller than you for a change. A certificate for all your years of amazing service to Mason County. We truly appreciate you. And then we also have, and I'm not gonna open it because I typically drop things,
Okay.
a pin set.
Wow.
It's pretty darn cool. And commissioners, do you want to say anything?
Good. Yeah, just appreciate your years of dedicated service, Michael. You've been involved in numerous projects and getting people through those processes over your time, and you can probably look around the county and your mark is on a lot of different spots around here, and your diligence is greatly appreciated, and just wish you all the best in this next chapter in your life, and don't be a stranger.
Thank you.
I'll come down and shake your hand first. Michael, I gotta tell you, after all these years, you're an absolute fixture here, and you've been a wonderful example for other employees to follow. You've never left us even during the hard times on some of that stuff, and people are not aware of all the things that you have done in the background for every development, every major subdivision, everything. I've said this for others, but I truly can say it for you as well. You've definitely left this place and this county better than you took it when you came in. And I want you to know that we do appreciate you. And I want you to know also, there's others in the room here and also from the outside that wanted me to tell you that you did a wonderful job and that you represented this county well, and that they appreciated you and all the work that you've done. So on behalf of us and them, thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
So I'm going to do something a little out of the ordinary. Is there anyone that would like to say anything to Michael or about
I was
Michael?
gonna say, or about it, that's even funner.
Please come to the podium.
Address?
Oh, he's gonna have fun for the next.
I'm Kel Rowan, and I'll try not to cry. I've had the distinct pleasure to work with Michael for several years before becoming his supervisor. And Michael has just been an incredible person to work with. I've worked with a lot of people throughout my nearly 30-year career, and Michael is one of my favorites and someone I'm going to miss very much. He's a very diligent worker, so sometimes people think he's quiet, and but he just is, always has his head down and does his job. Michael is very funny, and technology is not his friend, so I imagine that he is very much looking forward not having to deal with servers and emails and
They'll follow me home.
but I'm going to miss Michael a lot, and I've learned a ton from Michael since becoming a supervisor. He has a job in the planning department that he's the only one that does that job, and that's being turned over to another person. And so I didn't know a lot about it, and I've learned a ton, and I appreciate Michael's patience. Sometimes I am not patient, but we've learned to communicate, and I just appreciate his willingness to put up with my attitude sometimes, and he's helped me grow a lot as a person, so I appreciate that. I'm gonna miss you, Michael.
Thank you.
Anyone else in the room?
Hello, I'm Jean Bray, and I'm just a member of the public, and I would like to add to what Kel Rowan said, that in addition to Michael's expertise as a planner and having so much to do with every aspect of the county over the many years he's served here, he was a liaison important in historic preservation, and he helped the Historical Society of Mason County quite a bit during his years here, and he helped the cemetery boards and the different the cemetery districts, and he fostered historic preservation of many plots or sites in our county, and I just wanted to mention that. So he would always get back to you, too. He would, if you called him or emailed him, he would have an answer. It might not be that day, but he would get back to you, and I'm sure I speak for many others in that way. And he worked with I think he worked with the state archaeological and historic preservation group too in Washington State during all these years.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jean.
Loretta Swanson, Public Works Director. And I'll just tag on a little bit to what Jean mentioned, Michael. You always get back to people and always have an answer. That extends beyond just your role and responsibility, and that's one of the things that I have really, really appreciated. It's not my job, I'm gonna kick the ball over to whoever. You always make sure that the connection's made. So if it's a public works issue or a health department issue, you're making that connection and making sure that the citizens of Mason County are getting the answer and moving on their way and moving through the process. And that is huge. So much appreciate that. And what a great example for all of us. You're gonna be missed. I'm gonna be like Kel, get all also, but it's been great working with you, Michael, and awesome.
Likewise,
Look forward to your next chapter.
All right. Anyone else? Anyone in the Zoom room?
If there's nobody else, I'll just say a couple things. And,
Michael?
Address?
to be announced. So thank you, everyone, for the recognition. I really appreciate it. And, 31 years went by, which was actually 32 because I started as an intern. Went by pretty quickly, or so it seems, but, it's amazing how time flies. And I've learned so much and so much personal development. I would say that, signing on for the HPC duty was probably one of the most fun parts of my experience here, that and field work. And I'll just try out this little analogy that I was thinking of, from all the years of service. I was thinking about like a house that's for sale, and there's a little note that says, the cat comes with it. And I feel like I've gone through like multiple families or generations of commissioners and staff and all this stuff, and I'm just like still here. And now it's finally time for me to shuffle off. But Mason County's been really good to me, and I appreciate my time here. Thank you.
Thank you. You will be missed. All right. Let's move on to item 4.3, Planning Advisory Commission vacancy news release. Who do we have to read that?
Do you want me to read that for you? I absolutely can. I saw you here and I thought, oh, we're good. So we have a news release for our Planning Advisory Commission. Mason County is seeking 2 motivated and engaged individuals to serve as volunteer members of the Planning Advisory Commission. The commission will play a crucial role over the next couple of years in updating the county's comprehensive plan, which outlines the vision and goals for the county's future growth and development. There is 1 open seat represented as either Commissioner District 2 or 3, which includes Shelton, Arcadia, Bayshore, Union, Hoodsport, Matlock, Lilliwaup, Camilche area, and 1 open seat in District 1, which is the Tahuya, Belfair, Grapeview, and Harstein area. The Planning Advisory Commission is a 7-member citizen board appointed to advise the Board of County Commissioners on policies related to amendments to the comprehensive plan, shoreline master program, resource ordinance, and other development regulations, including making recommendations on rezone applications. The commission typically meets at least once per month on the 3rd Monday at 6 p.m., with special meetings scheduled as necessary. Appointed commissioners normally serve a 4-year term. The Commissioner District 2-3 position will be filling a vacancy set to expire in January of 2024. And therefore, we're setting the new expiration to January of 2028. The District 1 position will be filling a vacancy set to expire in January of 2026. Applications to serve on the board are being accepted until the position is filled and should be submitted to the Mason County Commissioners at 411 North 5th Street, Shelton, Washington, 98584. Application forms may be obtained from the Commissioner's office at phone number 360-427-9670, extension 419, or visit our website at www.masoncountywa.gov.
Thank you, Mark. All right.
Madam Chair, I just have one quick question.
Okay.
Kel, we got an email last night from the PAC chair. Does this cover the concern that he raised? Do you know? Have you seen the email?
I haven't seen the email.
Oh, okay.
But I do know we now have 3 openings. So
Okay.
we had someone that has been absent and then someone that just recently resigned.
Yeah, okay, so this announcement would cover that position potential,
Yes.
right? Okay,
Yes,
perfect.
so we actually have, so now instead of just the 2, we have 3. And I believe that 3rd opening is also, was serving under District 1, but if you recall from quite a while ago, we had 4 people represented in District 1, so I think it could be from any one of the districts. Because we try to have 2, 2, and then that, and 2, and then that 3rd is a roving.
But that, Commissioner, that 3rd one is leaving for another reason. It's a different. Yeah, that 3rd one was medical.
Yes.
Yes. So, no. It doesn't, unless you threw it in the beginning before they made that motion, it wouldn't include that.
Which I think was made last night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we still have to cover that, I think, in our briefing.
Okay. Thanks.
Yep.
All right. Moving on to item 4.4, free Christmas tree recycling.
All right. It's not Christmas yet.
It's close.
Gotta think ahead. Morning, Commissioners. Richard Dickinson, Public Works Deputy Director, Utilities Waste Management. Free Christmas tree recycling. Mason County announces free Christmas tree recycling available at the following locations starting December 26th to January 9th. The Shelton Transfer Station located at 501 West Eels Hill Road in Shelton. Business hours are Monday through Sunday, 8 a.m. to 4:45 p.m. And also at the Belfair Solid Waste Drop-Off Facility located at 2001 Northeast Sand Hill Road in Belfair. Business hours are Tuesday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Customers of Mason County Garbage and Recycling Curbside Service can cut up their trees and place them in their cart as part of their regular pickup. Please note that all trees dropped off for free recycling at county facilities must be free of tinsel, decorations, and flocking. Wreaths and garlands will not be accepted for free recycling since these items contain wires and therefore cannot be recycled. There you go.
Right, thank you.
I'm gonna stay close.
Stay close, yes. All right, item 4.5, Lewis Mason Thurston Area Agency on Aging Advisory Council vacancy news release.
It's as long as the.
Mark?
Absolutely. So Mason County is seeking applicants to serve on the Lewis Mason Thurston Area Agency on Aging Advisory Council. The Lewis Mason Thurston Area Agency on Aging is a local government agency that provides home and community services for seniors and adults with disabilities to help them remain living in their own homes. The Advisory Council makes recommendations to the governing board and staff. Members serve a 2-year term and meet the first Wednesday of the month at Area Agency on Aging office at 2404 Heritage Court Southwest, Suite A in Olympia from approximately 9:30 a.m. to 12 o'clock p.m. Members are not paid, however, automobile mileage is covered. The website address is http://www.lmtaaa.org. For more information about LMTAAA, please contact Jessica Hodges at 360-664-2168, extension 108, or jessica.hodges@dshs.wa.gov. For an explanation, or for an application, please contact the Mason County Commissioner's Office at 360-427-9670, extension 419, or visit the county website at http://www.masoncountywa.gov. Applications will be accepted until the positions are filled.
Great, thank you. And that's a fun committee, just saying. All right, item 4.6.
Me again. Upcoming solid waste facility closures. Mason County Public Works Utilities and Waste Management Division would like to notify the citizens of Mason County of the following solid waste facility closures for department all-hands staff meeting and the upcoming holidays. Date of closures, Thursday, December 21st, the Belfair Dropbox Station will be closed all day. And that is for the all-hands staff meeting. Monday, December 25th, all solid waste facilities will be closed for Christmas, and then also on January 1st for New Year's, all solid waste facilities will be closed. Visit the Utilities and Waste Solid Waste webpage to see regular hours of operations for each station at https://masoncountywa.gov/utilities -waste/solid-waste /garbage-disposal.php.
You beat me on that one.
Just had to do something.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, item 4.7 is our 5-year homeless housing plan annual report. And who do we have presenting that?
Me? I think we were, I briefed this last week. I think we were just having it open if anybody had any questions about it. This is, by RCW, we're required to present what the state of homelessness has been in the past year. So our 5-year plan goes through 2024. There have been no changes in the last year. Our objectives have remained the same, so quickly identifying people who are experiencing homelessness, prioritizing housing for people with the greatest need, operating a homeless crisis response system that quickly moves people into stable, permanent supportive housing, projecting the impact of fully implementing the 5-year plan and addressing racial disparities. So a lot of the same things that we've seen. COVID had a large impact on the state of homelessness in our community. Point in time count results, if you look at the trend over time, looks like we have a lot more homeless, but we did a lot more outreach into encampments and on the street to actually count more of the people that we weren't getting in previous years. And those are pretty much the biggest key points. The 5-year plan is broken out by intervention types. So we have a coordinated entry system, how many people have moved into temporary housing, rapid rehousing programs, how many people have been impacted by our housing and essential needs programs, as well as breaking down the racial makeup of the people who are operating our system. And I think the increase in rent over time is also something that we expect to see has further impact on homelessness. Are there any questions?
Any questions? All right. Thank you, Melissa, and that is on our website, so if anyone would like to take a look.
So we're
at that.
approved to go ahead and submit it to Commerce as well. Thank you.
All right. Well, let's move on to item number 5, open forum for citizen input. This is the time we set aside for citizens to come up and talk to the commission at the pulpit. You have 3 minutes each, 15-minute total time. I would ask that you, when you come up, raise your hand. I'll acknowledge you. Come up, state your name and your address, and then go ahead and speak with us. And this is for items that are not already on our action agenda. Okay. Anyone in the room?
I'm here for the building naming. Is that on your action agenda?
It is.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
We'll pull it off for a separate vote so you can speak.
Yep.
And
All right. Anyone in the Zoom room? Yes. Oh, I can't see your name.
What
Claudia?
did you say about things that were not on the action agenda? That we didn't talk about it yet, or?
Yeah, if they're on the action agenda, we ask that you talk about those once we read through the action agenda. We'll have an opportunity to pull things off for separate discussion or vote.
Okay, so don't talk about them now, is that?
Right. Yep.
So I have to leave at 10, so is that probably not gonna happen today then?
No, it will.
Oh, it will. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
Ask
thank you.
which items we-
Yeah, which item do you want removed before we start reading?
I'm sorry?
Which item would you like to have removed?
I just wanted to briefly talk about the Harstein Island proposed timber sale. I know that's a ways off, but I just wanted
That's
to,
not
Oh,
on the
you know what?
agenda.
That's not on our agenda, so go ahead and state your name, where you're from, and go ahead and
oh,
talk
okay.
to us.
Okay, so my name is Claudia Putnam. I live on 841 East Treasure Island Drive in Allen. And I just wanted to, I'll have more to say later as the dates get closer, and as I do a lot more research. But I just wanted to state my concern about that sale and to say that, you know, when things become rare, I hope that they become more valued and maybe valued in a different way than simply dollars and board feet and that sort of thing. You know, we have one little corner that's left, and that is important to me as a citizen, and I hope that I'm speaking for a lot of other people who feel the same way. Certainly, a lot of us have met there to walk through it. That's all. I just want to say that for now, and I have other things. I'll have other things to say later. So, thank you.
All right, great. Thank you, Claudia. All right, do we have anyone else?
Can you actually read her name? Is
Yeah.
that how you knew it, or did you know her?
No.
I mean, I can't.
I read
from
it.
You
here,
can,
but,
okay.
I do have help though.
All right, thank you, Claudia. All right, let's move on to item number 6, adoption of the agenda.
Madam Chair, I move for adoption of today's agenda as presented.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to adopt the agenda as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 7, approval of minutes.
Madam Chair, I move approval of October 24th, November 7th, and November 21st, 2023 regular meeting minutes, and October 30th, November 6th, November 13th, November 20th, and November 27th, 2023 briefing minutes. as
I'll second.
presented.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the October 24th, November 7th, and November 21st, 2023 regular meeting minutes, and October 30th, November 6th, November 13th, November 20th, and November 27th, 2023 briefing minutes as presented. Any discussion?
Thanks, Mackenzie. Cooking through those.
All right, I'll call for the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to item number 8, approval of our action agenda, and it begins. Commissioners will read through the action agenda. Items can be removed for separate discussion and vote. Commissioner Schutte, if you could take items 8.1 through 8.5. Commissioner Netherland, 8.6 through 8.13, and I'll take 8.14 through 8.18.
Absolutely. Madam Chair, item 8.1, approval of warrants and treasurer electronic remittances, claims clearing fund warrant numbers 8100711 through 8100862 in the amount of $929,026.26. Direct deposit fund warrant numbers 101701 through 102107 in the amount of $866,935.56. And salary clearing fund warrant numbers 7007762 through 7007787 in the amount of $1,134,380.92. And treasurer electronic remittances for October and November in the amount of $4,496,667.10. Item 8.2, approval of the interlocal agreement for fire investigation services with the Mason County Fire Chiefs Association in the maximum amount of $82,000 per year, set to expire December 31st, 2025. Item 8.3, approval for the county administrator to sign the lease agreement extension with Crossroads Housing to provide office space to veterans service officers from January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2024 in the amount of $550 per month payable from the Veterans Assistance Fund 190. Item 8.4, approval to sign the letter of concurrence with Thurston County's reappointment of Mary Beth Harrington to the Timberland Regional Library Board of Trustees for a term expiring December 31st, 2030. And item 8.5, approval to renew the Court Commissioner Professional Services Agreement with Tersa C. Butler for a term beginning January 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2024.
Madam Chair, item number 8.6 reads, approval of the 5-year contract between Mason County Law Library and Thomson Reuters for a continued service of the Westlaw Patron Access and Mason County Jail Access with a 2% per year increase. Item number 8.7, approval of the amendment to the interlocal agreement for use of jail facilities with Lewis County, increasing the daily prisoner housing rate from $92.40 per day to $94.27 per day. Item number 8.8, approval to extend the healthcare delivery services contract to December 31st, 2026 for a total estimated cost for inmate healthcare of $693,448. Item number 8.9, approval of the Department of Commerce Emergency Housing Fund, EHF, and Crossroads, you shared it with me.
You're welcome.
And Crossroads Housing Contract Amendment for an additional $101,071 to provide rapid rehousing services for 15 to 50 additional clients. Item number 8.10, approval for the Public Works Director to execute a 1-year extension of an interlocal agreement between Mason County, the Port of Bremerton, the City of Bremerton for project design oversight to the Puget Sound Industrial Center, PSIC, to December 31st, 2024. Item number 8.11, approval of the following Mason County officers, employees, and volunteers' request for defense and indemnification coverage assigned by the county as named defendants in a case of Brandon J. Rubio, case number 323 CV 05435 JLR SKV United States District Court case served upon them October 26, 2023 via UPS, Kevin Hansen, Angela Brown, Randy Newell, Shane Schoenberg, Tanya Reed, Paula Blush, and Andrew Ostergaard. Item number 8.12, approval of resolution naming Building 10 to the Gary Paul Burleson District Court Building per Mason County Code, Chapter 2.54. And item number 8.13, approval for the county administrator to sign a contract with Helix Design Group for Phase 2 of Building 10 renovations in the amount of $232,009.
Item 8.14, approval of the movement of up to $15,000 in the 2023 clerk's office budget from salaries and benefits to operating. Item 8.15, approval of the resolution recertifying to the county assessor the property tax levies for collection in 2024. Item 8.16, approval of the January 2023 through December 2027 collective bargaining agreements for Teamsters Local Number 252, Mason County Juvenile Detention. Item 8.17, approval to extend the lobby service agreement with Deborah Mangia, Capital Consulting LLC to December 31st, 2025. Item 8.18, approval to reappoint Cindy Brewmeyer to the Mason Transit Authority Board for a 4-year term which will expire December 31st, 2027, and approval to solicit for applicants to cover or to fill the 2 unexpired terms. All right, now that we've read through the action agenda, Commissioners, are there any items you would like to have removed for separate discussion or vote?
Madam Chair, just a quick, I think the collective bargaining agreement should be January 2024 through December 2027.
Oh, I think you're right.
So just a Scribner error.
Okay.
Madam Chair, if you could remove, please, 8.10, 8.12.
All right, 8.10 and 8.12. Any items from anyone else to be removed for separate discussion or vote? All right, Commissioners?
Madam Chair, I move approval of today's action agenda items 8.1 through 8.18, with the exception of 8.10 and 8.12, which are removed for a separate discussion and vote.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve items 8.1 through 8.18, with the exception of item 8.10 and item 8.12 for separate discussion and vote. Any discussion?
Yeah, just a quick word of thanks again to Mary and Misty and our team over in HR for completing another collective bargaining agreement with our juvenile detention staff. This is a great continued step forward for us in our contract negotiations, and appreciate having those wrapped up before they expire. It's a nice change of pace for us. So heading into the new year with a clean slate. So thanks, Mary.
I'll second that also, because I gotta tell you, it's wonderful to watch what we've been able to do with our negotiations these days. This is another great example of great work being done with our HR department. So again, thank you, Mary, and staff, all staff.
All right, and I'll ditto those remarks. All right, I will go ahead and call for the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. All right, let's move on to item 8.10 and ask staff to come forward to the podium to brief us.
We might tag team a little bit.
All right.
Happy to start. Morning, Commissioners. Loretta Swanson, Public Works Director. This item is a request to extend an existing interlocal agreement between the City of Bremerton, the Port of Bremerton, and Mason County. The agreement was initially executed, I believe, in 2019. I'm sorry, I don't have all my details right here.
Correct.
And it was originally executed between the City of Bremerton and Mason County. It was later amended because the Port of Bremerton said, hey, we also want to be part of these discussions and communications around planning for potentially servicing the southern portion of the Puget Sound Industrial Center that's located at the southern boundary, basically at the boundary of Mason County and the City of Bremerton. And we, the county, initially approached the city about this potential for two reasons. The plant that we had existing and in place and constructed was not receiving the flow that was originally, the growth that was originally anticipated. And so for operational purposes and also maybe more importantly for financial purposes, we approached the city to see if they would be willing and interested in sending flow our way. So that was the impetus or the beginning of that effort. And since then, we have been meeting, planning, looking at updating. We updated our general sewer plan to plan for accommodating some flow from the southern end of the Puget Sound Industrial Center. And currently, the city of Bremerton is updating their comprehensive plan as well, anticipating sending some flow. This was also reiterated during our Belfair planned action work. So as we were looking at what makes sense for zoning within Belfair, we were thinking about and looking at potential impacts from not only changes to zoning and land use within Belfair, but also, again, thinking about potentially receiving flows from the southern portion of the Puget Sound Industrial Center. So that's, sorry, a little bit long-winded, but that's the gist and the history about the agreement. The agreement's been subsequently amended each year, just re-emphasizing the fact that the three partners are continuing and wish to continue. To plan, basically, for that potential service. And happy to answer any other details you may have, questions you may have, commissioners.
Not this time for me.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone in the audience have questions for Loretta? Anyone in the Zoom room? All right. Let's move on to discussion or vote or motion.
So, you two commissioners decided to put it on the agenda, so I tried to make clear my thoughts during the briefing, but I need the public to know where I am on this as well. I will be voting against it if there's a motion, which I assume there will be. I want to point out, Loretta, that's only part of the story. When we were originally looking to do that, it wasn't just for hookups, because there was nothing to hook up. It was for getting their other system, and all those hookups they had up there at the port, because their system was going bad, they weren't able to get a recertification at the time. That would have been the only flow that had any value to us at the time, to be able to have those expansions, not to be able to hook up to nothing. So I want you to know that's not exactly accurate with the reasons, and I was meeting with them all at that time. We were putting that together. But it was the idea of getting all that flow from the industrial part. That would have been a game changer for our system when we were so backwards at the time on it. Time being forward now, we are not backwards anymore. We have our own capacity needs that we have. We have rezoned that whole upper area now for a capacity of ERUs that is much greater than anything we ever thought about before, that what they can do now. We haven't got the exact numbers now, but again, that need is within our own system. I want to point out the city of Bremerton, even up until this time, has still not put it into their plan, so they hadn't followed through with what they said. They did not come through with the $1 million in planning and stuff, as they had also agreed when we entered into this agreement. So none of that stuff has happened. Could it happen tomorrow? Yes, but at the same time, I want to point out there'll be a concept about whether or not there's profit or there's money to be made for our system. When we're expending all that time and money, we don't make profit off of a sewer system, well, especially if we can't get all those hookups. We're going to be doing one for one, or maybe one in a little bit. So the benefit is very, very tiny for anything that's in between PSIC and that big system that they have up there and all those big hookups. Now, with that being said, we have a need for ourselves, and the idea that we would create our own competition now makes no sense to me. If you go and you hook up just over that line and you bring in sewer to the city of Bremerton, just over the edge of Mason County line, you will create your own competition that will devastate or hurt, at the very minimum, the businesses and stuff that are in North Mason and our tax base. If they get the sewer out there and they decide to build a new part of Bremerton there, Belfair and those areas will greatly be impacted, but I wanna point out even more, we won't get anything for it. They get the property tax, not us. They get the sales tax, not us. We lose it, we don't gain it. So with that being said, I'm not in favor of this, and I'll be voting against this. And as I said before, it's different now than it was. It is a smaller footprint, and it has very little impact to the benefit. And it scares me when we start talking about even doing this any further. Thank you.
Yeah, I've always kind of operated under the premise here that, you know, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. And I want to make sure that Mason County has a seat at every significant regional planning table that we can. And that's the extension of this ILA. When we look at what our partners are doing on the other side of the county line, I want Mason County to have a voice and a say in those decisions, and so I am supportive of this. We can go back to the very beginning here. When I took office in 2017, the county essentially had no plan how to deal with the Belfair sewer, none. Backwards financially, audit findings, no financial plan, no plan to grow the ERUs, zero. I'm happy to say where we are today is we're very likely gonna finish in the black or very close to it. Because we've had a forward-thinking approach to how we deal with the Belfair UGA. We've not always voted the same on these things. Commissioner Netherland has made his opposition to a lot of these decisions very well known. But I'm absolutely very proud of the fact that we've worked regionally, we've worked with our legislative delegation, we've worked with our congressional delegation, we've worked with City of Bremerton, Port of Bremerton, Public Works Board. Commissioner Trask coming on the commission and bringing her experience and expertise with the Public Works Board has been crucial to us being able to turn around the Belfair sewer, to get that audit finding removed. And so, yeah, absolutely, I'm gonna sign an ILA that puts us at the table with those regional partners so that we know what's happening, that we're involved in those conversations, and so that if there is opportunity for Mason County, we're able to seize it and not just succumb to, well, it's just this development's gonna happen over there, and whatever happens, you know, that's gonna bankrupt us or whatever, we're not gonna get any benefit from it. That's the argument for not being involved in the ILA. We wanna be a part of these conversations, and so I am going to be supportive of it, and I will make a motion. Of course, let Commissioner Trask make comments if she has them, but this doesn't bind us to anything other than you know, additional conversations about it as we have a head start on that whole part of the PSIC as well, by the way, because we took action to extend the sewer. We have a head start on that part of the region, and so we have an opportunity here to continue to move forward with our partners, and I think that this is. You know, I think the reality that's associated with this is we are making progress. We are seeing growth and opportunity come to Belfair. We don't have to be an either-or organization. We can be a both-and organization. And I'll also point out that that this continues to be part of Bremerton's budget. This is included in their 2024 budget to continue planning for this. So because we haven't gotten $1 million check from the city of Bremerton for any of this work, we're supposed to believe that they're not in any way committed to this, or that there won't be any kind of commitment from them. I look forward to having those further conversations with them to see what their level of interest in contributing to our system and our community is. But this in no way binds us to anything other than having those planning discussions. And if the deal isn't right for Mason County, or if there's no opportunity for Mason County, I think I've been pretty clear about the fact that we don't have to do anything. But we're not gonna know unless we continue to engage in these kinds of conversations. And I think the fact that 2 years ago, we were also told that this was dead in the water, and they came and asked us for an extension in December of 22, and then they're back here in December of 23. No cost to us. We have a capital facilities plan that we have to execute on. We have work that we have to continue to do. So this costs us nothing to be involved in these discussions, when in reality, there could be contributions that come our way if it makes sense for Mason County. So with that, I'll stop, but we'll be making a motion.
Thank you. Yeah, and I will be voting for this too. This is just to keep us at the table, to keep us in the conversation. We don't want to be left out, and we want to make sure that, or I want to make sure that any decisions that are made are in the best interest of Mason County. Mason County is so important to me. We have the opportunity of growth in our county. We can see it when you drive through through Belfair. It's pretty awesome to see what's going on up there. I'll be voting for this. Further discussion?
Madam Chair, I move approval of item 8.10.
I'll second. All right, we do have a motion and a second to approve item 8.10, the approval for the Public Works Director to execute a one-year extension of the interlocal agreement between Mason County, the Port of Bremerton, and the City of Bremerton for project design oversight to the Puget Sound Industrial Center to December 31st, 2024. All right, I'll call for the vote.
Comment?
Oh, yes.
So, Madam Chair, I want to make clear to the public and everything, I have never voted opposite of anything that was profitable or anything to this county. I did vote against extending the sewer at our cost and on our back to an individual property owner and through their property. I did stand against that, and I would stand against it tomorrow. But there's nothing else that was profitable. All this expansion that has occurred in Belfair has already occurred on what we already had. Nothing that we created here. Well, one thing that we did do here was something I pushed for, which was the changing of how we allocated our funds and how we funded it by changing over to get bank loans instead of bonds that had a much higher interest rate, and we had the ability to pay them off. The only major disagreement we've ever had has been on that funding of extending the sewer through a personal property, or not to it, but through it. Now, the idea of that was for the future development, and I can understand that. We still have future development up there that needs to be done, and we're in the hole. We just spent $5 million to do that, but we still need to go on the other side of our road. And I want to make it clear, you can say that we're not doing nothing when we're sitting here working at it and telling them we're going to design to go out there. Let's not fake each other out and say that we're designing it only to be at the table. That's not accurate. We're designing it for doing something. As a matter of fact, the tribes right now are looking at trying to get the money from the state to do the extension from our sewer, and we've never even had a conversation here about it. If there's any conversations, it has not happened here at this commission, and it should. It's very important to the future of Mason County that we take care of our system, but more than that, that we don't create our own competition and hurt ourselves. We need to be aware of what we're actually doing. But again, it's not just in my head, and we haven't just disagreed on anything that happens there. We've done great work to get us to where we're at, and we have a lot to be proud of. I still disagree with the idea of going in debt to get out of debt when we are not gonna get anything for many years, and if we do, it'll be a small amount. You don't pay off $5 million in any short term. But right now, one more last time, the growth you've seen has been due to the rules that already existed, to the pipes that already existed, that the developer that already paid to hook up to that. We didn't pay to create their pipes for them. We paid for an extension in an area that there's nothing at, and that's what I disagree with.
Yeah, I just want to maybe clarify a little bit there. You voted against the EIS. You voted, with the exception of the impact fees. So the rezoning and all that you voted against. You voted against the extension. I mean, the record is clear, and I'm not trying to misrepresent your record on these things. You made your votes, we made ours. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
But the other part that I think has to be clarified is we aren't $5 million in debt on the extension. We just had a briefing yesterday that showed we used a significant amount of grant funding, both from the Public Works Board and both from the American Rescue Plan Act. And I don't think it's fair or accurate to characterize it as $5 million of debt. Number one. Number two, we also put $250,000 worth of American Rescue Plan dollars into evaluating extending across Highway 3 to the western part of the UGA. And so there has been effort put in by this commission to take action on those things, to continue to figure out how we build out the UGA. The other thing that I will say about whatever is being proposed on the other side of the county line is two things. One, if you're interested in those conversations, then you should be interested in signing the ILA. Two, if it is a tribal entity that wants to do that development, they don't need anybody. And so the very high likelihood is, if we're not involved in those discussions, then there's the potential that they have more flexibility than we would or any municipality would. That's just the reality. And so I would rather have our staff be a part of those conversations and help us prepare for any eventuality that might happen over there, rather than us sit on our hands and just let things happen. And so I will also just kind of finally say, the irony of this is, if we're not having discussions, if we extend this sewer, like we voted on last year, we're extending it through a property owner. If we're not gonna continue to deliberate having a partnership with the city of Bremerton, then essentially what you're arguing for is that we just reserve all of that capacity for the same landowner, which is a fascinating argument for me to hear a year after I was told that all I'm doing is benefiting one landowner. So I just want to be clear about the record on some of these things. Appreciate your voting no, and we'll see where these things go, but I just wanted to clear up a few points there.
Clarifying that, we expended more than $5 million so far, and we have borrowed millions to do it. So that is accurate what I was saying. I didn't say we borrowed 5 million. We've expended over 5 million to do it, we've borrowed millions to do it, but they're still not done, number one. Number two, about being at the table and being at the table for what they decide to do, they can do nothing without us. It's our system. So we can't pretend that what they're doing over there impacts our system, because we decide whether it goes over the line, not them. And they don't go after the money to connect to our system if we don't have them connect to our system. That's not separate. We are in control of that, regardless of what they plan. They're planning that because we are having those conversations, because we are telling them that. As for the EIS, I voted against the EIS because there was not a good public outreach to have a community forum there in the community to tell them what was going to impact their lives and all their traffic on Highway 3. Without that, and I asked for it, I was even granted it at one point, and then we pulled it off. We did not do it, and we did not allow the community to have that good input right there in their home, because they don't know to come to our website. They don't know to come to do our stuff. So that's why I voted against that. That wasn't because of the sewer. So those are two different things, but I did vote against it for that one purpose. And again, as for the sewer and expansion of going forward, we need to go across the highway, and we need to hook up our own people on our own side going down to River Hill or at least to the industrial park. There is no, it just sits for him. It is already done. And now it's there. Now we need to capitalize off it. But we don't capitalize off it by going over to Kitsap. We don't capitalize off it by creating our own competition. We capitalize on it by hooking up our own people, by using the system for it. We created with that EIS a zoning that is so drastic that nothing else in the county has anything like this. They can build multifamily all through there. And that's a lot of numbers for ERUs. We only have so many ERUs that you're gonna have in the system. This thing was built way over the top. I give you that. And it shouldn't have been. That was way before our time. But it is there. And right now, though, it's, as you said, about running out of profit in the black for the first time. We don't need to create and feed our own competition and give them a break on a system. They need to build their own if they're gonna do it. And if they do, that gives us a protection of many years on that border. Bremerton goes to Mason County line now. They had moved the city of Bremerton's boundary to the Mason County line. So when you think of Bremerton, you're thinking of the shipyard. They have it all now, all the way to the Mason County line. So for them to put in a shopping center or what there, on our dime, on our back, is not beneficial to Mason County. It's just not.
All right, so I'm just gonna comment just shortly. The ILA gives us that opportunity to say no. It does, puts us at the table. So, and I want to be a part of that discussion. I want our staff to be part of that discussion. We have so many opportunities in Mason County right now. And any decision of anybody else hooking on is going to come back to the commission. And so that's our opportunity to say no, if that's what we wanna do. But this just puts us at the table so that we can discuss it. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and call for the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No?
All right, motion passes. All right, let's move on to item 8.12. Approval of the resolution naming Building 10, the Gary Paul Burleson District Court Building per Mason County Code, Chapter 2.54. And ask staff to brief.
Who's gonna do that one?
I would say it's Mark.
Oh, okay.
So we received a request to name one of our buildings after Gary Paul Burleson. I wasn't here when Gary was here, but I understand that he was a prosecuting attorney for Mason County for a long time and really made his mark here in the county. And so individuals within our citizenry would like to recognize what he contributed to the county by naming a building after him. So looking at the buildings that we have available, our new Building 10, which is our district court facility, seemed like a very good nexus to this recognition. And so we are going to recommend that the commissioners approve renaming Building 10 the Gary Paul Burleson, either District Court Building or Law and Justice Building. There's a little bit of flexibility that I'd like to have with that, but definitely naming that building after Gary Paul Burleson.
Questions for staff?
For me?
Anyone in the audience have questions for staff? All right.
Is this where I would make comments?
She'll give it to you right now.
If anyone would like to make a comment, I ask that you go to the pulpit, state your name, where you're from.
Well, hopefully this is gonna be a little less contentious than the previous. I like to see debate though, that's good. Just a little bit of a background. Gary went to work in the prosecutor's office as a deputy in 1973. I went to work at Simpson Employees Credit Union in 1975. And then Gary got elected and became the prosecutor 7 different times for 28 years. And I became the president and CEO of what later became our community credit union for 25 years. So Gary and my careers parallel one another, and our buildings were a 4 iron away from one another for most of the time. And we became very, very good friends. Unfortunately, we lost Gary in 2017. And I was thinking about July, August. I had seen a building, a government building named after somebody, a Law and Justice Center. And I was thinking about that, and I wondered if that is done in Mason County. And so I went and asked Kelly Frazier when I saw him if that was ever done, and he said, as a matter of fact, it's been done 3 times, and we have a policy in writing that dictates it. So I went and talked to Mike Dorsey and Tim Whitehead, and they said, we've already talked to Diane Zorn, and she is going to send you the policy. Okay, that's the background. Gary's legacy is extremely good. The fact that he got reelected 7 consecutive times and generally unopposed, he had the legal community behind him all the time, he had law enforcement behind him, and then he had the citizenry behind him. So it's kind of an easy deal to think that he just justified in having a building named after him, and so that's when I submitted it in October to Diane, and then of course you guys have taken it from there. I'm here with the belief that you're going to approve it, and I would like to thank you for doing that. And if I'm wrong, I'll get the heck out of here. My only other comment, and again, I'm not here to tell you how to do your job, I'm here to thank you for doing your job. But the reason I wanted to suggest that it be the Law and Justice Building, in many of these facilities that I've seen around the country and even on TV programs, it's Gary Paul Burleson lettering and then the Law and Justice or whatever it might be. Yeah, it's a district court building right now, but that building is so big, there's a lot of other things done in there besides that, and it's gonna be around and be used by the county likely for a long time. And so, Gary, if he did anything at all, Gary was really huge on enforcing the law fairly, both criminal and civil, and bringing justice to people that were victims of crimes and civil violations. So your policy says we would like to recognize people that did things that were that were consistent with the reason for having naming, and in there is the thing that I thought, identified what Gary stood for, which was this idea about enforcing the laws and bringing justice to people who were victims. So that was why I wanted to call it that name. But I don't care what you call it. I'm very pleased if you would approve the fact that the building gets named and it's Building 10 after Gary Burleson. Thank you very much. Oh, by the way, with me today is his wife Kathy and his daughter Michelle.
And could I have you state your name for the record?
Now that I'm done, I'll tell you who I am. Yeah, I'm Joe Robertson, and I live out of Lake Limerick. And they keep redistricting. Is that, Kevin, is that yours? Okay. It was Tim Sheldon's for a long time, but I know it's not Tim's anymore. Anyway, Joe Robertson, I live out of Lake Limerick. Do you need any more address than that?
Just want to ask if you remember the signs that were, back in the day, you go into the store, and on the counter, there was a picture and a little sign. It was a picture of him, and it said something along the lines on, if you pass it back,
that checks.
I'm gonna come and get you. I used to love those things.
And he was smiling.
Yeah, he was, but I actually believed it had an impact. I can't tell you how many times I looked at that and I thought, boy, you know, you gotta think about it, you have no choice. They actually put it right on the.
And I'll tell you one other little quick story with Gary this time of the year, Christmas time. Gary was very festive. He enjoyed all the holidays. Well, he had on his Christmas attire, and he had his Christmas tie on, and it was the week before Christmas, and he was in the courtroom, and it was a very serious case. I think it was murder. And Jim Sawyer, Judge Sawyer, was lecturing the defense counsel about something that he didn't want them to continue doing. And Gary leaned forward at the table, and he had a button on his tie that started playing Jingle Bells. Sawyer says, "Mr. Burleson, can you stop that?" And Gary says, "No." Thank you.
Thank you. Maybe anyone else that would like to comment? Would you like to?
So, Kathy Burleson, I live at 2112 East Island Lake Drive in Shelton. So I just want to echo Joe's that, I'm very appreciative of this acknowledgement and recognition. Gary was deputy prosecutor and prosecuting attorney 37 years. He gave, all of his life to Mason County and they're just, I know of his contribution, especially after he passed away, and I got letters from citizens, from other prosecutors in the state, telling me stories about things that he did or helped with, or he was particularly conscious of like young kids, like teenagers, and just wanting to help them along rather than, throw a book at someone. So anyway, he did make a huge impact, and I'm very proud of all of what he did. So, and I appreciate this recognition. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I move for approval of resolution naming Building 10 the Gary Paul Burleson District Court Building per Mason County Code, Chapter 2.54.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the resolution naming Building 10 the Gary Paul Burleson District Court Building per Mason County Code, Chapter 2.54. Any discussion?
Just thank you for you, because you put in the service as well. We all know how that works. You really have to be special to do, especially from that position. You're gonna have people that were angry, and you're gonna have people that loved you. But without a doubt, you were definitely not gonna be warm water and living in a warm water temperature with them. And thank you for bringing this forward. And again, I do remember those signs, and the impact that he had was far greater than just every case he tried. He was well known everywhere and appreciated everywhere. And like I said, he may have even been the most well-known face in all of Mason County. Thank you to his daughter as well.
Thanks, Kathy.
Oh,
Do I have to come up?
Yes.
And your name.
Of course you do. What's your name?
Kelly Fraser, Facilities Manager. I just want to say that I am honored to do this for Gary. I've been there with him for 33 years too. And as soon as I get the plaque made, I will get with you, and we will do something at the building and let that family come or whoever come and we'll do some kind of celebration.
Great, thanks, Kelly.
Thanks, Kelly.
Yeah, just Kathy and Michelle, thanks so much for being here. Joe, appreciate you bringing this forward. You know, you kind of mentioned it in your remarks, what our code says about it, and it's just it recognizes people and individuals that performed an exemplary act or achievement of lasting interest to their community, and certainly Gary has been that. And you're right to say that building will stand the test of time, and his name will be on there as a recognition of that service that not only he gave, but his family as well. And so I didn't have an opportunity to work with Gary, but I was at our criminal justice working team meeting last week, and Prosecutor Dorsey was there, and Judge Steele was there, and some others, and it was great to hear them sort of reminisce about their interactions with Gary and kind of what he meant to their careers and what he meant to this community. And Judge Steele made it a point to mention that coming from another county, he was always so impressed to see Gary in court litigating and trying cases, and I think that's something that Mike Dorsey tries to emulate in his service as well. But that's the kind of impact that Gary had. He was a working prosecutor, and as you mentioned in your remarks, somebody who valued justice, but also wanting to get that for victims and offenders so that they could turn their life around. And so I'm very happy to support this. I know we all are, and look forward to getting this dedication done and having a standing memorial for Gary in our community. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Didn't have the honor of knowing, or the privilege of knowing Gary, but I do know his daughter. And I'm sure that she is a fine example of him, so this is cool. Okay. Call for the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Can we get any more emotional today? Wait, I can change the color of things.
Do you have a?
Oh, good.
Yeah, we still have two hearings to get through.
Right?
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
You betcha, thank you.
Does meeting come with an intermission?
All right, we are now going to move on to item number 9, other business. Do any department heads or elected officials that would like to say anything to the commission?
Good morning again. Facilities Manager. I have a couple updates. First off, courthouse elevator is up and running.
Oh, yeah.
So almost a year in waiting. Second off, the employees group had their activities happen last week. I just wanted to tell you that we did $934 in our bake sale. We did $1,130 in our pass the envelope, and we collected 24 boxes of food.
Wow. That's
all I
awesome.
have. Thank you.
Yeah.
Great job, Mason.
Awesome.
Great job, you.
You and your team.
You're always
Yes, absolutely. Mariah was right there for the whole time.
Great job.
Snickerdoodles were on point. So.
I think it's important to note that the Frazier family definitely works as a team. And although Kelly helps all the operational items, without the support of his family of bakers and organizers and people that are just super involved in the community, I don't think that Mason County would have what we do have and what we're able to accomplish without that team. So they're all do their own part, and it's great. Amazing bakers. Snickerdoodles are my favorite. I mean,
So back to me. I was gonna say, so back to the bakers. So the ones we really love is you. Never mind you anymore.
Yeah,
you can go ahead and bring the box. But
I've been requesting Snickerdoodles.
their stuff is there's stuff we look forward to it around here when we get a little treat or something like that. Stole his package he brought in for our Christmas thing. They stole it right out of my hands. They had it.
Who had it first?
I know, I still had her hands first. See that?
Just saying.
No ill-gotten gains. If you steal from somebody, you don't get to keep it. That's just how it works.
All right, anyone else? No? All right, anyone in the Zoom room? Oh,
Melissa. Come with me, Rachel. Morning, Commissioners. I want to first take the opportunity to thank the board for your support bringing WIC back to this community. It is going to fill huge gaps, and give a huge shout out and kudos to HR as well. Mary was super helpful in getting a new classification approved and developed for this position. Megan was super helpful and very patient with me. It was my first position hiring and recruiting using NeoGov. We had a very overwhelming response in number of applications, but in the end, we ended up with the best possible candidate that we can get. I want to introduce you to Rachel Hook. She has over 20 years of experience coordinating, doing all kinds of different work for WIC in the region, and we are just really excited. I know that the work that we're capable of doing isn't just going to end with WIC. I think there's a lot of other gaps in access to other resources that we'll be able to accomplish with her help. So please join me in welcoming her. We're really excited. We're going to spend, we've already hit the ground running. We'll be working the next month, really developing a robust marketing plan and making sure that people in the community know that WIC is coming back. And we expect to be able to start serving people mid-February, March, before I go on leave. That's my goal. So, yeah, thank you.
Sure. That's so exciting.
Yes,
Thank you.
You want to say anything more?
Oh, yeah, you should definitely tell us about yourself.
If you don't say it now, we'll put together 20 minutes.
Do you need my
for you.
address?
She fits right in. See,
Absolutely.
So I am very, very excited. I came from Thurston County, started in Grays Harbor. Our community desperately needs WIC back. Just in 1 week, when the Shelton office closed, Thurston County received 578 clients in 1 week. There's such a need. They're asking daily in Olympia, when Shelton opening, when Shelton opening? And I keep saying, my goal is February. And that is my goal. I think we'll easily do that. And I'm looking at other programs bringing with WIC, so it's going to be good. We need it.
If there's anything you need for us to help you to make that happen, because we all think it's important, there's not one of them up here that won't help you in any way.
Thank you.
Reach out.
I appreciate it.
I was so disappointed when it went away. I may have been a little angry, but I am so thankful that it's coming back. There's such a need, and appreciate everything that you do.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
I'm
you.
so looking forward to it.
Me too. I can't wait to open.
It's difficult sometimes to attract people to come to Mason County. We're not always the highest paying jobs. Individuals that do come and work for us and provide these types of services, when they're members of our community, I think that it adds even more. So I'm just super happy to have Rachel here with us and to help us out and bring what she's learned and what she's gained over her entire career in this field, and to come to work in Mason County with the sacrifices that come with that. Very appreciative, and we're excited to have you in our community.
Thank you.
And as you heard, the people here are incredible, and they feed you well.
And I like food.
The only thing I bring is Danishes over there, so.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, anyone else? All right. Well, let's move on to our public hearings. We have 2 scheduled for this morning. First one is a public hearing to consider supplemental budget requests and budget transfers to the 2023 budget, and ask staff to come forward and present.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Look forward to working with you.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Jennifer Byerly, Support Services, and I'm here to remove any emotion out of the meeting by talking about budget.
Well,
That's
obviously,
the most
you cleared the
emotional
room. I mean, people must be super excited.
Yes, it is a very exciting topic. So this public hearing is to consider supplemental budget requests and budget transfers to the 2023 budget. And the budget requests, the detail is as follows. In the lake management districts, Fund 194, 195, and 199, the expenditure change we're asking to reduce by $8,926. as an error correction from the first budget amendment, moving funds out of the ending fund balances and into professional services, since the lake management districts don't use the ending fund balance lines, so that's all that is an error correction. In the general fund, we're asking for WSU to increase revenue by $13,000 and increase expenditures by $691 for a new 2023 grant or grant contracts, and then motor pool repairs. Also, these are all in the general fund that I'm listing off right now. So the auditor, DEM, LEF, and district court, an increase to expenditures of $86,500 for contractual salary increases that resulted in the need for budget increase in these departments. In WSU, the assessor and the sheriff's office, an increase to expenditures of $64,100 for unanticipated motor pool costs. And then in the auditor's office, an increase to revenue and expenditures of $27,300 for election services grant number 2. In facilities and grounds department, we have an increase to expenditures of $50,000 for increased costs for custodial and electrical due to taking on 2 new buildings. In the clerk's office, an increase to expenditures of $11,054 for desk scanners purchased for staff. In the sheriff's office, an increase to expenditures of $205,025 for food services, an armored vehicle cover, Faro scanner, taser lease continuation, and drones. In district court and superior court, an increase to expenditures of $31,381 for a JAVS upgrade that's split between those 2 departments. In Office of Public Defense, an increase to revenue of $115,392, an increase to expenditures of $85,000 for an increased need for contract attorneys due to longer trials than anticipated, and then a TST transfer for 2022 billing that was done in 2023. In juvenile court, an increase to expenditures of $2,000 for 1 additional computer replacement that was missed during the 2023 planning process. In non-departmental, an increase to expenditures of $334,873 for the Gorse Coalition for 2021 through 2023, all paid in 2023, that's $25,000. The EDC contract increase for recompete, $30,000, and then risk management property insurance of an increase of $279,873 over the budget. In transfers out, we have an increase to expenditures of $156,538. That's a transfer to Russellwood to support operations of $100,000, and then transfer to elections equipment from HAVA grant revenue of $56,538. In the special and other funds, we have the auditor's O&M Fund 104, an increase to expenditures of $33,000 for a new server and associated licenses. In Election Equipment Fund 109, an increase to revenue of $56,538 and increase to expenditures $203,706 for vote-by-mail envelope sorting machine. In Community Support Services Fund 117, an increase to revenue and expenditures of $2,773,000 for new federal and state pass-through grant funding. In Funds 117, 160, and 180, that's Community Support Services, Law Library, and Treasurer's O&M. An increase of $3,500 for contractual salary increases that resulted in the need for increased budget. In Narcotics Investigation Fund 142, an increase to revenue and expenditures of $50,000 for unanticipated revenue and expense from felony forfeiture. In Community Services Health Fund 150, an increase to revenue and expenditures of $790,000 for contracts received during the 2023 budget year that were not originally budgeted for. In Mental Health Fund 164, an increase to expenditures of $115,392 for the transfer to OPD, Office of Public Defense, for 2022 billing done in 2023. In Mason County Landfill Fund Fund 402, not 102, an increase to expenditures of $301,159 for a purchase of the roll-off truck. In Russellwood Sewer and Water, Fund 411, an increase to revenue of $100,000, transfer, that's the transfer from the general fund to support operations. And the total requests for changes or increases to expenditures in the general fund is $1,054,462. An increase to expenditures in the other funds is $4,260,831. Are there any questions or comments?
Normally we have the numbers in front of us when we do our motion. But at this, I don't have them except for these ones in the back. I don't have revenue and I only have expenditures, if these are even accurate. I have here on this one, because this looks like this was the actual paper for the request for the year. Is what we have, unless it's changed. I have an adjustment, authorized expenditure appropriation in the general fund of $1,054,462, and an adjustment to authorized expenditure appropriation in the funds other than the general fund of $4,260,831.
That's correct.
It's all still accurate?
Yes.
Questions for staff?
Not for me.
Anyone in the audience have questions for staff?
Just a quick comment. Throughout the year, we try and consolidate budget amendments together so that we aren't having to have public hearings every time we want to do an amendment. Offices and departments usually have the ability to continue to operate during the year with what budget they're allotted to, and so usually mid-year we do a budget adjustment and then year end. So this is really a culmination of quite a bit of work that has happened since mid-year to year end. And thank goodness we have Jennifer to keep track of all this stuff and keep us on our toes. So just appreciate the work that her and her team do to really manage and ensure and really provide oversight and support for offices and departments that maybe don't pay as close of attention to it. So it's nice that we have the watchful eye of Jennifer Byerly to really monitor those things, and when she sees something that she's concerned about, she contacts them and then initiates the required decisions that the board has to make to ensure that they stay in compliance. So just appreciate all that work, Jen. Thank you.
Thank you. I do have to tell you that Peter Jones compared us to Bob Barker. He said he would be very happy with how his budget turned out in an email from this morning. So I thought that was a good reference to The Price is Right. We're just slightly under, which is where we want to be. So, kind of funny.
Man, rest in peace, Bob Barker.
Yeah.
Lost him this year. 99 years old.
Holy cow.
Didn't go over 100.
Kept it below.
Kept it below.
Kept it below.
Yeah.
One of the better things that we've accomplished over the years was, it used to be the Wild West. Every time somebody was doing one of these, when we cut back and didn't allow it for a while, and then started doing it all together in phases, it stopped a lot of the bickering, a lot of the fighting and stuff like that. It's been a great move. But it used to be the Wild West. Every time somebody needed something, let's do it again.
All right, thank you. Thank you. All right, now, this is time for public testimony. Is there anyone that would like to submit testimony? Either here or in the Zoom room. All right, hearing none. Commissioner discussion or deliberation or a motion?
I'll give it a shot. Madam Chair, I move for approval of the budget requests and budget transfers 2023 budget as referred to in attachments A and B, with the final numbers of $1,054,462 coming out of the general fund for expenditures appropriations, and $4,260,831 coming out of the funds other than the general fund, as presented.
Second.
All right, we do have a motion and a second to approve the supplemental budget request and budget transfers to the 2023 budgets according to attachments A and B. The general fund is an increase of $1,054,642, and the expenditure funds in the general fund is an increase of $4,260,831.
The general fund is actually 1,054,462.
Did I say something different?
642.
Transpositions.
Right, thank you, ma'am. All right. Any discussion?
Just great job, Jennifer. Appreciate the collaboration between the departments. It is a little bit like herding cats, so congratulations, and maybe take the next week off.
Thank you.
Big cats, big cats.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Yes. All right, I'm gonna call for the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. She does an amazing job. So, do appreciate her. All right, let's move on to item 10.2. This is a public hearing to consider the sale of parcel number 12220-50-58012 to John and Kim Rice for the amount of $1,600. Diane?
Good morning, this is Diane Zorn, Central Services Manager. So this request came forward after the realtor for John and Kim Rice contacted us last summer for this teeny tiny piece of property out in Allen off of Sherwood Avenue. We surplused it back in October, thinking it was our property. But after further research, after we set the hearing and we got a purchase and sell from the Rices, it was determined it actually is their property. It's on the deed. The order of vacation from 1925 does not recognize it, so there is a cloud on their title. But our attorney looked at it and said the correct process, if they want to clear that cloud, is to ask for a road vacation. So I don't need any motion from the board today except to close the hearing, no action, because we don't need to sell it, they own it.
We don't get the 1,600?
We don't.
And we get to pay our real estate agent for.
And for the hearing notice, yes.
1920.
1925, the records are a little sketchy, but I guess we've come to the point that we know it is on their deed, so they own it.
Very cool.
Congratulations
Any
to the Rices.
questions for staff?
They say, Merry Christmas,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Save $1,600.
Yeah, yeah, very cool. Any questions or comments?
Maybe just call for a motion, die for lack of a motion.
All right. I'm calling for it. Motion? No motion. All right. Thank you,
Great work,
Diane.
Diane.
And thank you to Mackenzie, she did a lot of the back and forth with the realtor.
Good job by you.
Our
Yay,
attorney
Mackenzie.
and everybody else.
Woohoo. That's awesome. All right. Well, now we are at item number 11, the board's calendars and reports. Commissioner Schutte, Commissioner Netherland, and then I'll follow.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Madam Chair. Excuse me. Going forward today, have a MACECOM entrance conference with State Auditor's Office, Y Advisory Board meeting, and then a meeting with the leadership at BHASO. Also have Mason Transit. Later on this week, I have Hood Canal Coordinating Council, as well as the BHASO Governance Board meeting. And then I'm going to be out for the Christmas holiday and New Year holiday, and then see everybody back here on January 2nd.
So, I had many different meetings, but it was a shorter week, and I'll throw in a reason why in a minute. Left Board, Rotary, North Mason Chamber of Commerce, executive sessions. I do want to speak on Zinn. Zinn's Celebration of Life was a wonderful event. We need to thank the Hansons for it. You know, in all these years that I do this, I always try to show respect to those that have left as some of our community leaders. And one of the things that always surprises me is no matter how great you were or whatever you may have accomplished, when that time comes, it is often a very lonely thing. I'm going to use one for an example. Is we had Mr. Harry Martin, well known in my community, loved in my community. He was the grandfather basically of our Chamber of Commerce, created Harry Martin's Famous Oysters. And when he passed away, nobody from the chamber was there. And his two daughters were sitting in the front, and there was not a lot of people there. And I ended up speaking, even though I don't like to, especially in that, on their behalf and on the community. And so I always try to go to these, that's why I go to a lot of them. And it's just sad to me when you watch how great people, how it changes when you're there and when you leave, and how they don't show. They showed for Zinn, and I want to say the reason why they showed for Zinn is because you watch Rachel Hansen and her family make sure that she was kept out in the front, and it was not forgotten who she was and how great she was. And so I'm saying this to give an extra thank you to her, because Zinn deserved that. And in that celebration of life, she was respected in the manner she should have been. And so thank you to the Hansons. And also I want you to know that in her pamphlet, there was a recipe for her curry chicken, which I thought was pretty darn awesome. But when we all go, that's why I always have this thing, when I pass away, there'll be 3 people there. That's just how it works, if I've learned anything. So thank you to the Hansons, and Zinn, you will be missed. Orca, Olympic Regional Clean Air Authority, we had Building 12 where we were all together for that grand opening. Met with developers and looking at trying to find things to do in the community, including the upper area. I always try to do whatever we can, even though we may disagree up here on the stand. When we leave, I still do my work. I always try to, decisions made, that's why I've never not signed. Everything that I vote no on, I sign, because I lose and I win. It's just how it works. And as a team, that's how we're supposed to do it. Now, when I first came in, other commissioners did not do that, but I hope that's how we do it, because sometimes we do lose, and sometimes we have to remember, it doesn't mean that 10 years from now we'll look at each other and say, gosh darn it, I was right. Or, they look at each other and say, gosh darn it, I was wrong. That happens. So I wanted to let that know. So Peninsula Regional Transportation Organization, we had our wonderful Christmas party, which was pretty awesome. Very interesting conversations. It was funny when HR didn't show, and then in the end of it, we found out why. That made sense. But great job to all of them, and we have such a wonderful group of people. The lady that was on here, I met with some representatives on saving that old growth forest. Eventually, I would like to have a conversation. I'm going to talk to the school districts and stuff that I have in the area, because I always try to make sure we get them their money that they need. We need the money that comes in there. But in looking at these maps, I did not agree with some of the stuff that was brought before us the last time. There were things that were said that I did not think were accurate. When I looked at this map and I sat down with this young man, everything he said to me seemed very, very accurate, and it was very impressive. And there is a specific old growth, close to old growth, if not, forest that's out there. When I worked for the PUD, I was a tree trimmer on the PUD, and I went up on the biggest tree I've ever seen in my life, where it took 2 people to climb it, because it was so big you had to move the cord for the other side to go up the tree, and that was there. So when this young man showed me, and he shows us the map of showing red for where these old growth structures are, because it's not truly an old growth forest. You've got these little tiny dots, and you've got one that's actually significant in size. So I think we might want to have a conversation of that in the future. I don't know, I'm trying to find out more. So coming up, Mason Transit Authority, North Mason Chamber of Commerce, ribbon cutting for Belco, I think we'll probably be there. Mason County Housing Authority, Rotary facilities for North Mason School District. I will be having and doing the swearing in for a city council member and a port commissioner. They requested that I do that. And the reason why I was bringing up, we next have Christmas and New Year's. The thing with Zinn and how family and these people are so important in your life. I was gone for part of the last 2-week period. I went to Denver and I took my sister about, 8 months ago I lost my oldest brother. My oldest brother's 20 years older than me. And it's funny how that works. So been working to try and bring family back together again. As we're coming up on Christmas, I took my sister, who hadn't seen my brother in 20 years. I took my brother to go see him, who he hadn't seen in 20 years, and they hadn't gotten together. And we just have to remember that no matter how big the fights are, in reality, they're nothing in comparison to what we really have and what we're really going to deal with in the end. So dust off, whatever it is, don't hate each other for them, especially for family. You don't know how long you have, and then it's done. Happy New Year, and may it be wonderful for everybody, and Merry Christmas to each of you. I mean it from the bottom of my heart. Merry Christmas to all of you. God bless you.
Thank you. All right, so yeah, later on, we do have the Mason Transit meeting. I have a Public Works Board Executive Committee meeting. Tonight is the last meeting for Kathy McDowell, Deidre Peterson, and Jim Bode. And so I will be going to, they're having a little reception after the meeting, so I'll be there. Today is pajama day, and my seatmates neglected their duty, and so did our county manager.
The truth of the matter is, you don't want to see me in pajamas.
And so, anyway, so tomorrow, ugly sweater day.
Okay.
Okay?
This
All right.
doesn't count. This
Okay.
is close enough.
Mark?
Yes, ma'am?
Ugly sweater day.
Actually,
tomorrow.
there's two commissioners here that are demanding ugly sweater day on our staff. Dress up, dress appropriately.
I live by the rule of two, so the fact that two are
Yeah.
not dressed in
Just
their
remember
pajamas.
that. Don't you forget that.
That's right.
Don't forget, Thursday is Santa Hat Day.
Who put all these together?
I don't know.
Yeah.
And then it's also our Turning Point staff Christmas party. And Friday is Wear Red Day. So wear red again. Having lunch with some amazing friends of mine. And then, so we do have so the Vikings play the Lions on Sunday. We'll be watching that. I didn't mean to roll my eyes, but there is that. Let's see, Wednesday, the 27th, I don't know that these guys know yet, but we will be having an executive session if you guys are available.
On the 27th?
On the 27th.
I did not know that.
That's a fantastic way to find out.
Yes, it's important. So, then I have at my SWAC meeting, another Turning Point meeting, Public Works Board Executive Committee meeting, and then we have New Year's, and then we're back for our commission meeting. And I have no special days for those. So, there we go. Do we have anything else?
Move we adjourn.
Second.
All right. We're adjourned. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Mark, what's going on?